Hi, my name is Beth Fineberg, and I'm a rising sophomore at UIUC majoring in computer science and music. My research mentor is Professor Paris Smaragdis, and today I will present to you about my work this summer on pitch tracking. What is pitch tracking? Pitch is the note that we perceive when hearing a sound. Pitch sounds are composed of many harmonic frequencies spaced out by octaves. We perceive the lowest and strongest frequency called the fundamental. The goal of pitch tracking is to determine the fundamental frequency over time. Why pitch tracking? I'm a classically trained singer and I wanted to see what kinds of insights I could get by analyzing the human voice. My end goal was to apply this to analyze vocal health. Pitch was a good start for this, as the code I wrote could be a good basis for analyzing more complicated aspects of the human voice later on, such as intonation, hoarseness, and prosody, which is rhythm. Starting the algorithm. I began by recording the audio files that I would end up analyzing. All these included clips of me singing, playing the piano, whistling, and clapping. My first step was to perform an STFT, or short time Fourier transform, on these sounds. The STFT determined the frequencies of my sounds in the wave file, and I plotted this data over time to make spectrograms. My next task was to understand these spectrograms better because they provided a visual basis for pitch. Here are three spectrograms I generated. One is of a piano scale, one is of whistling, and one is of clapping. These spectrograms all help me understand what pitch and unpitched sounds look like. And at this point, what I tried was to track the pitch by finding the mode frequency during pitch sections. This worked somewhat, but failed if pitches weren't separated and often mixed up octaves. My next approach was peak picking, a more reliable but complicated way to track pitch. With a perfectly clear sine wave, we could find out where the zero crossings are and determine the period from that, and in turn the frequency. However, the human voice isn't a perfectly clear signal, and this won't work. This is likely why my last approach is falling short. You can determine a frequency through measuring actually periodic similarity. I use autocorrelation. And theoretically, if you measure how similar a wave is to itself shifted by a value k, it should be most similar to itself when k is the value of its period. So if I find the index of the highest peak in the autocorrelation, so the highest value of k, this should give me the period of the signal. The unit that this period is in is frames. So if we divide the sampling frequency by the value of the period, we'll just get the frequency of the sound. And I plotted the results of this at the bottom on red dots on the spectrogram. I did some tweaks later on to improve the accuracy of this method, but this essentially provided the basis for my pitch tracking. The data we get from pitch tracking can be applied in many different interesting ways. First of all, pitch shifting, which is most known for its application actually in auto-tuning, is when you use the data from pitch tracking to make a sound higher or lower. And beyond musical applications, pitch tracking and other analysis of the human voice can be used to actually detect diseases and, more recently, early signs of COVID-19. Here are some links to my sources. And I just wanted to thank you for listening and give a special thanks to Professor Paris Smaragdis and CS at Illinois for providing me with the opportunity and resources to do this project.